Hi everyone. So this is Miss Hill, and right now I'm going to show you the demo of how to do a 2-point perspective city. This is going to be our major drawing assignment. So follow along if you can. This will be posted on LMS, especially for those people who don't get a chance to log in at the time while we're doing this, or to just reference later. So first thing you need is ruler or straight edge. If you don't have a ruler at home, you just need to be able to draw something straight. Paper, pencil, and eraser. So I've got my little eraser right here. I have a bigger eraser somewhere around this room if I need it. But if you don't have those items, just pause the video and take a moment to go get them. It's going to be a lot easier if you have them on hand, unless you have to go, going running for them is never a good idea. So, like I said, this is going to be your major assignment, which means that what I want you to do while you're doing this, before we start, is make sure that you're documenting the different levels you're at. So that means once you've done your basic outline of your city, I want you to take a picture. Once you do your pencil drawing, I want you to take a picture. And then as you do your shading or inking or coloring, depending on what this assignment details, and that'll be in the assignment write-up sheet, please document that as well. So on to the assignment. Step 1, make sure your page is horizontal, so it's landscape. And then you're going to draw a line right across the center, and that is going to be your horizon line. We learned this already when we did our basic 2-point perspective. So right there, my horizon line. Now, once you have a horizon line, it's pretty easy. Your vanishing points are going to be here and here. So as you remember, that means that all lines or orthogonal lines have to go to those 2 vanishing points. Now, what I'm going to show you right here is a basic city. So it's not something that you're going to it's not going to warp your brain. However, when you do it, I want you to make sure that you're doing something really creative. So I might add some creative bits and pieces to this city, but I want you guys to work creatively. Come up with something that's surprising. That's not just, plain box buildings. So what I'm going to do first is make my first building. So I just told you not to make boxes, but they are a good place to start. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'll go all the way through so that you can see them. These are my 2 orthogonal lines, and it's going to create my first building. Remember, when you're doing perspective, it's all about form. So here's my first building. It's going to be right here. So what I'm going to do is use my transverse lines and build it up. Okay. Then again, going back to my vanishing points, I'm going to make the top of my building using my orthogonal lines. Okay, you're like, Miss, that doesn't look like a building. Right there. Now it does. So, again, my very first building, I'm going to erase the horizon line that runs through it. Then again, I'm going to tidy up my transverse lines, make sure they're nice and straight so that my building doesn't look warped at all. Make sure that this is straight as well. Okay, so there you go. There's my very, very first building. Now, it's warping a little it looks right to me over here. I'm noticing as I'm looking at my computer screen, it looks a little wonky here. I think it's just the level that my screen is at. All right, so what I'm going to do now is build additional buildings in here, and I can use these same lines or I can drop them down and create new ones. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use these same lines. So I do another straight line, and then to make the roof, I go from the other side, right? Just like I did before. That's the most basic. So as you can see, I've got two buildings going here. I can create as many as I want, or I could get rid of a few. I can keep going on these orthogonal lines, or I don't have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase these to get a clearer view of what my city looks like right now. So I've got these two lines. I'm going to make a little sidewalk. So in order to do that, I need to go from this orthogonal line again and create one that goes with it. And then I'm going to go over here to the other view vanishing point and again create another line. Okay, now the key here is to create a sidewalk, you have to use your transverse lines, but they have to lie flat. So what you're going to do is go like this. And then as they get farther away, they get closer to make it look like there's a distance happening. Same thing here. It has to go and match. It's going to run along the horizon line. And for me, I'm just going to put a little ledge because our streets are not like completely flat. And then of course go back to my orthogonal line to my vanishing point. Everything that you put on here, remember, has to relate to those vanishing points. You can't just dump something on there and not have it relate. Okay, so obviously I'm going to jump to the next step so that you can see. Obviously, for those other people who are doing it at home, I want you to build this city up. I'm going to show and post examples of different cities. I'll do numerous ones so that you can have like different inspiration. One of them I'll post is one that I've worked on before, which is a steampunk city, meaning everything's kind of coppery. Again, these don't necessarily have to be streets. This could theoretically go all the way down, and this could be like a floating street in some kind of crazy futuristic world, right? Or this could be water. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a street. So the one thing I do want you to keep in mind, though, as you go along, is that there will be an element of shading to this. So just like when we shaded our shapes, you need to establish a light source. So where is your light source going to be? For me, my light source is probably going to be right here. All right, so that means this area will get shaded. This area will get shaded. This will be very dark because no light's getting there. This will be a little dark in the corners, but will definitely lighten up. And obviously here will also be a little bit dark, but it's facing the light and there's a gap. So that's the only other element that I want you to work on. And want you to always keep in mind when you're doing this, is that where's your light source coming from? Are you making realistic buildings? Again, you can alter these cubes too. So say I don't want a cube anymore. I want to give some curves. So I have that basic cube shape, but I can do this. Okay, so now it's not a cube. So I'm going to pull this over here a bit more to keep and maintain the circle, and then I can even go like this. And curve this. And as long as, again, I'm going back to my vanishing points, I can create a line here and make this curl over, or I can go like this and make it circular. I can drop these down and create windows. Pretty much anything I want to do. The only other thing that you might think of is windows. Hey, that's a good idea. I'd like a window here. Remember, same basic thing as a building. Always go back to those lines. All right, so there's my window. Or you know what? Maybe it's not a window. Maybe it's a waterfall. I'm going to take out a chunk of my floor here, my sidewalk. Then I can always build a little barrier around it. Okay, now the water is going to fall down here and then go into my beautiful river that is definitely not a street. Okay, so plenty of different things that you can do with this. Just changing, like altering a few things, changing the way it looks. The big things that you always have to remember is that everything comes back to these vanishing points. Even this and this had to go back to this vanishing point. This has to go to this vanishing point. All right, if you do make a mistake, you should be able to tell just by the way it looks. When you do perspective wrong, the interesting part is your eye recognizes it. It's because we see things in perspective so often that we know when things are right and we know when things are wrong inherently. So that's our basic intro on this. If there are any more items that you need to see made, like a specific thing like a piece of furniture, a boat, a window that goes in, again, that's pretty easy. If this was a real window, all I would do is drag this in a little bit and then make a ledge that goes back to this line, right? Then go straight up. Now my window goes in. All right, so any questions? Don't hesitate to leave me a message. You can type my email address, which is posted all over LMS. You can create a discussion question about it, or you could just email me directly. So, or ask me in class on Teams. But yeah, this is pretty much how to make your basic city. Please get started. Remember to document every part of your work.